Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WWE Raw 25th Anniversary Review for January 22nd, 2018. Well, you guys may be wondering, yo, what is this headset you got on your head right now while you're doing this recording? Well, there's a big explanation to why I'm doing this. Real simple. This headset, which I've had for over a year, along with this tablet, which my girlfriend gave me for my birthday, well, this headset actually has a microphone in it for me to be able to talk to you guys and communicate. I used it mostly for talking on the phone while I was playing a video game with my girlfriend or friends, or I would go ahead and use this this headset for listening to music. But now I figured out a new purpose for this headset. So don't go saying what a fucking retard you are, but you probably will, because I'm not the sharpest knife out of the drawer, or whatever cliche you would like to use at this point. So yeah, you guys have been using your tablets, cell phones, and so forth, and raising the shit out of the volume on them, when all this time I could have just been recording with this headset on with the speaker in it. So yeah, sorry about that. But the show must go on. So we're going to get this show going. Just to give you an overall rundown before I get into the complete run-in with this whole entire Raw review, what did I think of this show overall? Well, I'll put it to you this way, guys. This show was good. It was bearable. It was enjoyable, but it did not have a good go-home show for the Royal Rumble. There was a lot of segments that were entertaining, funny, and brought back a lot of good memories from old gimmicks that wrestlers performed that were successful. Unlike today's gimmicks are completely horrible and don't get over by the crowd whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. So, let's get into things. The first thing we had was Shane McMahon and Steph McMahon out in the ring. They call out their dad to wish him an ovation for his hard work and dedication to WWE for the last 25 years with Monday Night Raw and all the other achievements he's had with the WWE since he's taken over from his dad. His daughter decided to do a GoFundMe account for fans to pay to actually have that plaque that they gave him to reward him for his hard work and dedication. Well, Vince McMahon turned on his heel mode switch, and he went off. He basically said, I don't need no plaque. You guys have plaque in your teeth. You have plaque in your arteries. You guys are all a bunch of cheapskate mofos. He just pretty much blasted the whole WWE audience and the entire New York audience as a whole. So I was laughing my ass off at that. I knew he was like, I don't want to be a sentimental nice guy. Fuck this shit. I don't want these people knowing I'm actually nice. I'm going to be a prick on national television and play my character as I always have. So he goes into heel mode, and Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out after Vince McMahon says, nobody helped me do anything to help this show make what it is today. And then Steve Austin comes out. The glass shatters, and we hear his theme music. Austin comes in, gives up the middle finger while he's standing up on the turnbuckles, doing his normal shtick. And Vince McMahon goes on to say, look, I can't, things have really changed since last time you and I have been in the ring together. I'm on the AARP plan. I'm in a retirement home. I also have brittle bones from arthritis, so on and so forth. You can't do any physicality to me. I'm done. I'm kaput. I'm out of the whole loop of any kind of physicality of any sort, and nor will I do anything towards you. But you can stun my son, Shane. He pretty much gives him up to the wolves. Austin stuns him. Shane's basically, before that, was completely confused on what the hell he's talking about. And doesn't understand why his father would even do that to him. So that was funny. And then Austin stunned Vince, and then he stunned Shane for a second shot. So it was a pretty good segment, and I really enjoyed watching it. I thought that was very funny. So there was a part in the show. They had the women's a women's tag team match, which I hardly paid attention to. Didn't really care. It was basically, let me scroll down here real quickly. Absolution, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville with Alicia Fox and Nia Jax versus Asuka, Bayley, Mickie James, and Sasha Banks. Asuka's team wins this matchup. And that's pretty much it. With the bank statement by Sasha Banks. So we then go to Manhattan Center. We have The Undertaker make an appearance. The Undertaker's really doesn't look like he's in wrestling shape. He didn't look like he was gonna at all perform for WWE audience anytime soon either. I think he has a couple months leading into WrestleMania that he could get in top form where he can perform in front of an audience. But right now he looks pretty bad. His stomach is bulged out. You can definitely see that in his trench coat that he had for his Undertaker gimmick. He also didn't have the gloves on, which, by the way, I didn't happen to mention when I noticed that, but I didn't think about it. But now I'm thinking about it, now that I'm doing this review, yeah, he didn't have any gloves on, the little MMA gloves that he usually carries when he's getting ready for a fight. uh, he really didn't have a whole lot of what he normally does. But there is something he did say that was a little confusing to me. It kind of made me question what that statement was. He went ahead and he went about saying he's drawing the line in the sand. And let me scroll down to get the exact words that he said. He says, they all tried and they all failed. Now, on this sacred ground, he declares for all those who have fallen, it's time to rest in peace. I don't know if he's referring to his victims, that it's time to retire and let go of what was the past and have the future have the performers of now have the future. Or he was saying that he's drawing the. He did say this cage size seats doesn't exactly give the 100% full speech that he said. There was a part in that he mentions that they don't in their article. Is he says he's drawing the line in the sand, and then he mentions all that. Now, I don't know if that's referring to him declaring that he's retiring officially on Monday Night Raw, or to, close up the uncertainty of him returning to a WWE ring because of Roman Reigns beating him at WrestleMania 33, or that was referring to him declaring his next victim, whoever wants to cross his path and want to make his ass famous. So I'm not quite sure on that. You guys leave your comments and opinions down below and let me know what you guys thought of this comment that Undertaker said in his video. Or in his, not his video, his promo. Excuse me. The APA was backstage with Heath Slater and Rhino. They started building up a full house of people. There was guys like MVP. There was, I'm trying to think here. There was I do believe the New Day and the Usos showed up. Titus O'Neil, Apollo Crews, and Dana Brooke were there too for this segment. Later on the show, they all started accumulating as each segment began. Started with APA throughout the night, and eventually the Heath Slater and Rhino had a match with Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews, which later brought out the Dudley Boys. We also got to see a parade of authority figures. that ran Monday Night Raw over the 25 years as GMs, such as like John Laurinaitis, which was by far the worst. William Regal was okay, but nothing to speak of with him. Eric Bischoff was the top tier guy of Monday Night Raw GMs. He was actually the longest, may I add. He stayed GM till freaking 2006, and he started as GM in 2002. So he was a GM for 4 years all around. So that was quite some time. So it was very with him. He was very impressive. Um, Daniel Bryan, for some strange reason, was called out by uh, JoJo to come out, and he shook all the GM's hands. And then the Miz's match with Roman Reigns was supposed to begin for the IC Championship. They had a stare down of some kind. I don't know if that meant anything or that was just, old stuff that they had of history with each other and dislike and verbal confrontations with one another over the past year, with Miz being on SmackDown um, and Daniel Bryan being the GM. They had friction throughout the time being, which looked like it was going to lead to eventually a one-on-one match at some point, which wouldn't have been a bad one. I think they would have had a good match because they did have a really good match back in the day with the United States title when Daniel Bryan first started with WWE. So that would have been pretty interesting if they would have been able to accomplish that, but no big deal. Now we get into Roman Reigns versus The Miz for the WWE Intercontinental title. This match was actually rather good. I did enjoy it. Miz performed very well. Roman Reigns actually, I can't believe I'm saying this, actually was entertaining. He wasn't getting a one-sided beatdown. This fight went back and forth. Roman Reigns was trying to fight off the Miz Taraj. He was fighting off the Miz with all his dirty tactics, like using the ropes as leverage to do a pin. He was doing, and Miz was trying every which way to pick up this victory. Finally, after a little bit of a distraction by the Miz Taraj from Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, he went ahead, went to the middle rope, and great camera work by WWE production, by the way, for going ahead and keeping the camera angle away from the Miz, from you actually being able to see what he was actually doing at the time with taking the middle turnbuckle and undoing it, leaving the metal piece of it from the inside out, and opening up the win for The Miz to take the championship from Roman Reigns. Outstanding job by camera guys in that match. I thought that was impressive as hell, and didn't even notice it until it actually happened, and then they showed the replay, and I was shocked. I was like, wow, I didn't even notice that turnbuckle was taken off. So very good job by WWE cameramen and production team to keep that from being seen. Well thought out and well put together in that whole area of that match. Roman Reigns was good, as I mentioned. He performed very decently in comparison to other matches. I was very entertained by the whole thing. So kudos to both guys, but I don't think Miz should be Intercontinental Champion number one. I think Finn Balor should be the IC Champion, beating Roman Reigns. And I think Finn Balor should be a heel as a IC Champion, and so should the rest of the club. I don't think these guys playing face is really a cool deal. I don't really appreciate it that much because Finn Balor at this point should be in a pissed off mood. They should be using their whole behind the scenes saying, hey, you know what, WWE doesn't want to give me an opportunity for the WWE Universal Championship when I could have been one of those people being announced to compete for the Universal title. I haven't even lost the damn belt. I was injured and I should be able to get a shot, and I haven't. And I performed very well throughout the entire year, which he did. I just never got a good enough opponents to face. So at the end of the day, he should have been competing for the Universal title. And they could have went ahead and said, "Hey, look, you know what? I beat your crappy Champions Club, and I should be even competing for the Universal title. But hey, Roman Reigns, I beat your one of your Shield members. How about beat you and at least make up for not having a Universal title match? I have an IC title match, and I will make that title even more prestigious than what you've done with it." And they could have initiated a match between the two of them for this episode and would have seen Finn Balor compete in an actual championship match. That would have meant something. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Miz wins the title. We get a little bit of an entertaining match, and that's about it. And the IC title goes back and forth. Big whoop. And Miz is at his 8th title reign. Chris Jericho has 9. So we're coming in close where there's going to be a tie for the 9th title reign with Miz and Chris Jericho. How exciting. So yeah, Miz goes ahead. He uses the exposed turnbuckle, smashes Roman Reigns by dodging out of the way from a spear by Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns lands face first in the exposed turnbuckle, and Miz hits the skull-crushing finale to pick up the 1-2-3 and walk away victorious as the new Intercontinental Champion. So we later on start seeing Jeff Hardy, Montavious Porter, MVP. We see then Christian show up. He's doing a promo about him and Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan pretty much goes ahead and cuts off Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins doesn't even get a whole lot of talk time in this whole entire segment. Jason Jordan just blabbles on and on and on and on. The fans boo and boo and boo. And they call him all kinds of names. He doesn't feel welcome by the WWE audience in New York and Brooklyn, and so on and so forth. Like, who fucking gives a shit about this whole entire segment? Then the Bar comes out with Sheamus and Cesaro, and they have a little bit of a beatdown. And what's her face? And then Jason Jordan holds one of their opponents, and Seth Rollins tries to do a jump off the top rope, hit the guy, but the guy moves out of the way and Seth Rollins ends up hitting Jason Jordan by mistake. So that's the whole segment there. Nothing big. Christian didn't even have that big of a moment, so who gives a shit? Let's see here. Alexa Bliss is interviewed by about the Women's Royal Rumble, who she thinks is going to win. Does she think she's going to even be the Women's Champion by WrestleMania, or does she think she's going to lose the title? Charlotte shows up out of nowhere, says, if I was on Raw instead of SmackDown, you wouldn't even be the Women's Champion. I would, and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. We also got to see $1 Million Man, by the way, which he was fucking hilarious. I wish he would actually show up and maybe be a manager for someone on WWE that could really use his help and guidance if he was really willing to do something like that. But I really wish they could get him to actually be involved in some kind of capacity as a manager towards a wrestler and help build them up into something really big. But he's very funny, entertaining, and that laugh is fucking hilarious. So I think he would make an outstanding manager with him being in his old age if he really wanted to. Bray Wyatt versus Matt Hardy in the Manhattan Center. I was very disappointed in this. I wasn't mad at the fact that this match was going on in the Manhattan Center. I think that was pretty cool that they wanted to do something like that, giving JR and Jim Ross an opportunity to actually call a match that meant something. And this match did mean something. It meant something for Matt Hardy. It did mean something for Bray Wyatt. but more to Matt Hardy, and they fucked this whole thing up. The match was going okay. It wasn't fantastic. It should have ended up being something of a complete brawl, count out type of thing. And instead it ended up with Bray Wyatt getting a clean victory over Matt Hardy with the Sister Abigail thing. First match with a serious opponent and Matt Hardy loses. Like, why would you do that? That is so fucking retarded. The match was average at best. I mean, I'm not even saying it was great. It was decent. So, whatever. We had a segment where they had the Bella Twins, Maurice, Kelly, Lillian Garcia, Jacqueline, Tori Wilson, Michelle McCool, Terry Reynolds, Maria Kanellis, and finishing up the whole entire segment, they had Trish Stratus come out. And a lot of these women, they held up their looks. They don't look like they've aged that much. Some of them look like they've aged a lot. All outstanding and had major roles in the WWE Raw history, even in the sense of WWE women's wrestling, for that matter. I mean, they weren't the greatest female wrestlers. Trish Stratus probably was the best one out of the bunch. Might have been one other person that was better than her, possibly, but that's about it. So nothing big there. Elias was making a backstage entrance to come out, and they have Chris Jericho show up. He has his long hair now, like he had in New Japan Wrestling, and he was funny as hell, but not the same. Not the same, man. Not the same in New Japan Wrestling. New Japan Wrestling, he is the fucking shit. He is what he should be in WWE. An intense, furious, mean, angry talent who is ready to tear a person's head off at the mere sight of someone. This guy that he was portraying in New Japan is the same person he needs to portray in WWE. They need to give him that kind of gimmick. Enough with the list. The list is funny. I'll give him that. It is fun and enjoyable, and it gives you a really goofy side to him. But that serious side to him, where he is a fucking pissed off, raging bull who's ready to kick someone's ass, that is the kind of Chris Jericho I want to see on my WWE. That's what I would like to see out of Chris Jericho. Not this, you just made the list shit. It's funny, but at the same time, we need a serious Chris Jericho at this point. He works out better playing serious than playing goofy. That's just my opinion. Elias thing comes out later on after they go to a commercial break, comes out to the WWE audience, talks about the WWE for the last 25 years, Monday Night Raw, saying that WWE after 25 years finally made the right decision picking him up. And he goes on to say, well, hey, it's more like this. WWE is Walk with Elias. It's not World Wrestling Entertainment, basically. So he creates a song. John Cena interrupts him. And Elias runs out the ring, giving John Cena the spotlight for a few moments. And then the WWE audience agrees with Elias after Elias tells him, would you please just shut the hell up? We don't care. It's not that big of a thing for you to be here. I'm going to throw you out of the Royal Rumble, and that's that. John Cena says, oh, really? You want to fight? He goes, okay, well, why don't we just do it right now? So Elias says, well, I'm not really doing that now. It's going to be at the Royal Rumble. So let's save it till then. John Cena attacks him. He goes ahead and attacks back, blah, blah, blah. Tries to get the attitude adjustment, and he counters, gives him a low blow, hits him with the drift away maneuver that he has, and also hits John Cena with the electric guitar. John Cena looking pretty injured and banged up. leading into the Royal Rumble match itself. So, here, get tired and I gotta finish this review and I gotta get to bed. So, let's see here. I mentioned about Heath Slater and Rhino versus Titus Worldwide with Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil. The Dudley Boys come out. They interfere in this match and actually give a 3D through a table to Heath Slater. Backstage, AJ Styles actually gets conducted an interview about his title match against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. He asks for Mean Gene Okerlund to come in. He does a funny, weirded out copy of Hulk Hogan, which I don't know if it was cringeworthy or it was just plain retarded, but who gives a shit. So we go back to the Manhattan Center and we get Shawn Michaels, Triple H to come out and pretty much slowly introduce all the guys that were in the D-Generation X. And Shawn Michaels and Triple H, they're making funny jokes, especially with Shawn Michaels trying to bring up a moment in time when he was with the DX first in 1997 with him and Triple H wearing some fucking shit and talking about cooking sausages and things of that stuff. And Triple H keeps interrupting him and telling him, no, you can't do that kind of crap. This is a PG show. And he's like, man, I used to be the boss of this freaking group. And now all of a sudden you became Mr. Hotshot. And now you're the boss of everything. This is really starting to piss me off. I thought that was funny. Shawn Michaels still funny as can be. So is Triple H when they work together. Other things to mention, they bring out Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, and then they bring out X-Pac, pretty much having the same skit they normally do, nothing dramatically different. We then see Scott Hall come out as Razor Ramon. He's given the spotlight too with DX, and then after Razor Ramon said, well, this Monday Night Raw, I'd have to say, is too sweet. Finn Balor and the rest of the Balor Club, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows come out, and they do the too sweet signal to the rest of DX and Scott Hall. And then the Revival show up. Revival have a match. And that was Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows against Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. This match was not all that much of an entertaining match. It was pretty much very sad that Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson got their asses kicked in this one. First time ever seen this before. And they really got destroyed because X-Pac hit the X Factor. Road Dogg hit the punch combo with Billy Gunn, adding the Famouser to knock him down. And then Sweet Chin Music to Scott Dawson. And then a Pedigree by Triple H with the Sweet Chin Music Pedigree combination. And then the coup de grace by Finn Balor crawling on the top rope and hitting that onto them, closing the whole segment out from the Manhattan Center. All right, this is the last thing, and then I'm going to have to close up this review. We then get Kurt Angle having a bunch of people coming into this. This is so stupid because it didn't stop anything from happening. It was an all-out brawl. Not much of a brawl, but somewhat of a brawl. So we get Kane coming out, Braun Strowman coming out. They have a line of guys in between Braun Strowman and Kane. And Paul Heyman finally comes out. Paul Heyman basically says, look, Brock Lesnar is my beast. He's the undisputed Universal Champion. No one's been able to ever beat him, so on and so forth. He is the man. He is the best, and he's going to beat your ass. And he didn't come here for a nostalgia act. He came here to do one thing, and that's to fight, and that's what he did. He ended up losing at this fight because after he F5'd Kane and clotheslining Braun Strowman got back up and put him through a table with a running power slam. And that's how the show closed up, with Brock Lesnar laying down on the ground, pretty much grabbing at his ribs. Now, we've seen a complete exact duplication of this leading up to No Mercy in 2017 for Monday Night Raw's pay-per-view, when Braun Strowman was supposed to get a one-on-one match with Brock Lesnar. This time we're seeing the same exact thing. I don't see why this is even going to be remotely good for Braun Strowman unless Braun Strowman's beating Brock Lesnar with a pinfall. And Kane's nowhere to be found in the decision. Kane straight up is either going to lose to Braun Strowman or he's going to lose to Brock Lesnar. One of those two are going to beat Kane. Kane is going to be the victim of this match. They are going to be pinned. They're going to one of them are going to pin Kane to retain either to retain or win the championship from Brock Lesnar. That's all there is to it on that. Brock Lesnar was impressive, but he was made to look like a fool by Braun Strowman again. They keep hyping up Braun, but then they're going to take away his momentum and have him lose. Even if he's not pinned, it still takes away his momentum to being the absolute best that he can be as his character. At this point, what he's reached at this time with his character, he deserves to be a world champion. Plain and simple. There's no questions asked here. This should be a no doubt that he should be the man to compete and be the world champion going into WrestleMania 34. Hands down. I honestly believe Braun Strowman should be competing for the world title as the champion, defending it at WrestleMania 34 against Roman Reigns. That should be the main event. That's what I've been talking about for the last year. Since after WrestleMania 33. I have talked about this. I have said many times before, Roman Reigns or Braun Strowman should win the Royal Rumble, compete against each other, more Roman Reigns being the WWE Universal Champion, and then Braun Strowman win the Royal Rumble and defeating Roman Reigns for the title and being the main event. But no, Vince McMahon continues to be stubborn and keep giving Roman Reigns he wants to give him a main event, give him the right main event. The right main event was Roman Reigns becomes champion, stays champion till WrestleMania, from SummerSlam all the way up to WrestleMania 34, and Braun Strowman stays out till the fucking Royal Rumble pay-per-view and wins the Royal Rumble. That's what they should have done. They should have given Braun Strowman tons of time to rest, recover, recuperate, enjoy his time with his family, and then come back to WWE to win the fucking Royal Rumble. That's what should have happened. But that didn't. So this is what we get. But anyway, guys, overall, show was decent, enjoyable to watch, but nothing extraordinary stuck out at me to the point where I would go, holy shit, I can't wait to see the Royal Rumble. Honestly, I don't care about the men's Royal Rumble. The women's Royal Rumble is unpredictable. I'm not quite sure who's going to win that. I'm pretty certain, though, it's going to be Asuka more than anything else. The world title matches, I am certain who's going to win. It's either going to be Braun Strowman defeating Kane or Brock Lesnar defeating Kane and him retaining the title. And AJ Styles, of course, is going to retain the title. There's not going to be co-owners of the WWE Championship with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. There's just no fucking way that's happening. So that's the bottom line to all that. And if you don't like that, you can kiss my ass. But anyway, I got to get to sleep. Leave your comments and opinions down below. Hit the like button if you like this video. And on top of that, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Thanks a lot, guys. Good night.